Welcome to the Sixcast, a podcast where we discuss real-world strategies, tips, and stories that provide helpful insights for your digital transformation experience. In this first episode of Sixcast, Waruna, the CEO of Six Senses, will be discussing COVID-19, covering topics like the need for empathic leadership, the impact the pandemic has had on businesses, and how he personally navigated through COVID with global team members.
Hi, Waruna. So today's episode, we're going to discuss COVID-19 and businesses and how they're impacted. Have they been impacted? So I welcome you and thank you so much for having time today to discuss this very sensitive topic. So my question first and foremost is, how did the first wave of COVID-19 affect you and your business?
Hi, Kitney. Thank you for that question. And it was hard. It was tough. It was, I think it was March 17th, 2020. I got a call from a couple of my clients saying, unfortunately, we had to shut down all the operations, and sorry that we had there's nothing that we can do. And I realized something big is happening, and there was nothing much I could do at the time as well. I told my country director and management team, asked them, hey, can we organize a meeting can we organize a staff meeting? And it was challenging. It was tough because you're not necessarily focusing on your life or not paying your bills. You have a group of people and their families relying on the pay coming from the business. So it was tough. I told the team, folks, it's tough. It is very, very unpredictable, unprecedented times. There's nothing that I can do at this time. Unfortunately, we had to shut down the operations. My business went from being a very vibrant, active, fast-paced business to losing 95% of the operations overnight. It was extremely challenging and challenging times. I had slept for about a day or two straight up because it was tough to take in. And there were a couple of folks within the team. I told them, hey, can you keep working while you can, or do whatever you can, and to finish up the work, because there are some time-sensitive, pressing work, and they were happy to do that. It was not like, okay, sorry, you said no. You said you said that we are laid off, and thank you very much, goodbye. They were not like that, and the team was very understanding. They were respectful of the situation. They were very understanding of what's happening. They realized that it is not only happening to you. One thing made me feel a little okay was that when I spoke to my peers, one of my friends who works at Microsoft, he said, dude, don't worry, I'll give you some money if something, if you are struggling. No, of course, no interest. I was blessed to have a support system and sort of friends like them. And he literally said, no, I have put some money aside, and I'll be happy to give it to you. I'll loan out to you, and no interest is required. Of course, I didn't have to take his money, but I'm thankful that the words of support, words of encouragement and motivation to stay intact at the time. So it was very difficult initially. It took a little while. It took about a few days, and I spoke to a few of my friends who are running their businesses as well. They said, you have, it's not just for you, it is happening to everybody. It is nothing, you're not special here. And I was in fact at some point I'm in the e-commerce industry, and there were opportunities coming up. Companies were hiring e-commerce experts. I could have get a job, but I was like, okay, if I do that, what's going to happen to my team? And I couldn't make that decision, and I was like, no, I'm going to somehow stay at it and persevere. And a few months after the big taking the nose dive, I was able to hire pretty much everyone back. And many asked me, you are in e-commerce, you are in web, why were you affected? As I have mentioned in many previous podcasts as well, number one, my clients were affected. Obviously, when my clients are affected, we are affected. And we had gone very deep into our clients' businesses as opposed to diversifying, which is a mistake. Going deeper into clients' business is a good thing, but not diversifying your business is a mistake. And as a result, when I lose, top three, my top three clients, then your business is pretty much dead. And that was a good learning experience as well. It was a lot of learning. It was a lot of it's challenging times, loss of hope, but we persevered.
Great, Waruna. So can I ask you, were any of your employees impacted by COVID-19 in your company? And if so, what was the best way to respond in that moment?
We have a global team. We have people working from around the world: Canada, India, Sri Lanka, Australasia areas, USA, Europe. Yes, the first wave was not that bad in terms of health impact, but third wave has been incredibly difficult, especially the folks in India. I spoke to our project manager a couple of days ago. She said her uncle died, and one of our designers, someone in our advertising team, he got COVID. His wife got COVID, and the wife was delivering a baby, and they suspect the baby also got COVID. And he hadn't seen it. It was about 4 or 5 days after the birth of the baby. He still hadn't seen the baby because he is not allowed to go in. And it's very distressing to hear. She said people are waiting in line and they die without before being admitted to a hospital, a lack of oxygen, because of the lineups. And the system is not ready. You can't blame the government or you can blame the economy. It is unprecedented times. And one of the designers who had previously done some work, his he had passed away. He hadn't worked for us, but extended contact. He had passed away. His parents had passed away, and he's left behind 2 children and a young family, a wife. It is challenging. And I asked her, what can I do? She said, there's nothing that you can do. It is just whether you are rich or poor or influential, powerful, it doesn't matter. Now everyone is affected. It is just the system is overwhelmed. People are dying, waiting to get admitted to a hospital. Nothing can prevent that. It's impacting pretty much everyone equally. And all you can do right now, all you can do is just pray for us. That's all she said. She said, there's nothing else you can do. And it is challenging, especially when you don't understand what exactly going in that local community or in that particular country. First wave was not that hit bad for India, as everyone knows, but third wave is hitting hard as we record this conversation. And I don't know what's next. Folks in Sri Lanka, they had luckily, knock on wood, they were all safe. We had to get everyone to work from home. We had to close down the office and got everyone to work from home. And we supported everyone throughout the way to get their setup, computer set up. And we were patient, and we helped the way best we can. And I'm glad that the team understood the reality. They were not blaming us. They were not blaming the system. They were cognizant about what's going on around the world. They understood that. They understand right now too. It is not just because for them. It is just happening around the world, and there's nothing. A lot of things are beyond my control. And my clients were the same, and they said, sorry, it's not that I don't want your support right now. I can't have you guys working right now because we don't have any money coming in the pipeline. That's what it is. And I'm just taking a day at a time right now and trying to help our team the best we can.
It's devastating news to hear, Runa, and it's really saddening that we have to experience this globally, internationally, and so many people are affected. And as a business owner who is now trying to find in recovery mode and has redesigned your business and have reperformed in a different way, what do you think the best way for employers? How do they support people who have been impacted by COVID-19 in their own businesses? What do you do? How do you respond to them? What is the best way to handle those situations?
Great question, Kitmi. I think it is keeping two things. A lot of things are beyond our control. You are in two multiple different areas. You don't know what's happening next. A lot of things are beyond your control. I think the key two things that I follow is have an open communication, being very open and candid conversation with the team, number one. Number two is being empathetic, being very understanding and empathetic and sympathetic both with the team and their families. I have clients who have told me, I love to take my people back, but I don't know what's next. Lockdowns coming every other month, and I can't bring people on board and say, hey, you guys are back at work. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause. Thank you for staying with us. But next week you are shutting down your operations again. It's unlike the major banks or big tech companies. Small to medium-sized customer-facing businesses are severely impacted. They invested so much putting together outdoor dining, for example, restaurants, or preparing themselves to bring people back on board. But month down the road, or 2 months down the road, what they know is they have shut down the operations again. It is challenging, and the way I've done is I just like in my first in the first wave, I said, guys, sorry, there's nothing I can do. I'll do whatever I can. I can send you a bonus for special days or support you along the ways. There's nothing I can do, and I had not diversified. That's my mistake. It is what it is. But I'm hopeful that we'll be back at work. So having that open conversation. And number two, being empathetic, understanding their situation. And you see sometimes you experience a lack of commitment from their side, because now they were working and they were asked not to work. Now they are coming back on board, and individuals could feel less committed to their jobs. You can't blame them. It's just the societal, environmental conditions are making them feel that. and you got to be understanding. Sometimes you have background noises when you're on the phone. Sometimes you can't turn on your cameras. But it is what it is. I've been empathetic. I try my best to. Of course, you have a job. You have to get it done. At the same time, I've been trying to be understanding rather than being taking harsh decisions or letting people go just because they don't show up or just because they don't cover their job work. And also, I think I'm blessed to have a good group of clients as well. They also understand that it is not exactly the same that we had before. As you know, you can work in, it's completely different from working in a cohesive environment in an office. Now you're working from so many different places into so many different in so many different conditions, and those are the two things I can say. And there's nothing. A lot of things are beyond our control.
Those are really good points, Bruna. And it seems like taking an empathetic approach really provides people who are going through these similar situations with at least comfort to know that their workplace is combining the personal values and professional values and meeting in the middle. Would you agree that now that type of approach is now a different way of handling business? And in your experience, what have you done differently as a result of merging those two worlds together and having those two worlds collide?
I think one of the key things that I learned from this whole pandemic was, tough times of 13 months, was that you got to prepare. You got to prepare. You don't know what's coming next. Could it be a civil unrest? Could it be? I'm not trying to be negative, but it's a reality. The reality of the world is it going to be fun and happy when the pandemic is over? I think preparation to a certain extent, diversification, and getting people to be aware or cognizant about what could happen in the future, and having some safety nets around you, around your business, around your employees, around your projects.
These are all amazing takeaways and very informative, Runa. And thank you so much for explaining the trials and tribulations you've gone through and being so open with the audience regarding these, as well as how business owners could respond in a way, because I think it's very clear that we're still figuring it out and everyone's still in a really uncertain place. And given all the unpredictability, there's no real way of handling a challenging situation with an employee. But I think the main points that you brought up were empathy and understanding and open communication, dialogue, and being very patient are amazing ways to handle this pandemic and handle your business as well as handle employees. So thank you so much for being able to invite that and share your point of view with everyone today. And it's really a sensitive time, and we all have to be very cognizant of everyone's feelings. So thank you so much, Waruna. Are there any last thoughts that you'd like to share before?
Yes, thank you. I think it is about learning, learning through hardships, I would say. The sad part is a lot of people were affected, a lot of people died, a lot of people lost their businesses or jobs. We had to be empathetic about what happened to people. Some of the things that I've learned personally was that I used to be very much about business is business, personal life is personal, or family life is personal, different. It should be separated. But over the past 13 months, I realized that it doesn't have to be exactly that. You can have your family life could go hand in hand, or your children, your everyday life could go hand in hand with your business. Oftentimes, when in meetings, I had my 3-year-old daughter would come to me and ask, Daddy, can I speak to your friends? And in many occasions, people on the other side are very understanding, very kind, and they would say, yeah, let's chat. And she would say hi, and how are you doing? And she would go away. If it is not a good time, I would say, no, come back later. And she would say, oh, can you tell me when it's the right time to talk? I would say, sure. And that is, I would say, a greater learning curve for me. I realized that work and family or children doesn't have to necessarily be completely separate, two separate things. It doesn't have to, you don't necessarily have to have an uptight meeting all the time without any disturbances around you. It is okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have your friends or family and friends around while you are doing an important business deal. Of course, you might lose a little bit of productivity. You might lose a little bit of focus. I understand that, but that's life. I would say that's one of the key learnings I have while you're thriving for success, while you're thriving for excellence, thriving to make money. I think you don't have to separate your business with your business and the family. You can, because at the end of the day, family matters the most, because you wanted to make a social, economic impact. But I would say start that impact starting with your family, and that's what I learned. That's one of the key takeaways from this hard times, and I truly believe, and I truly try to live by that.
Thank you so much, Waruna. That's really a great learning lesson, and I think that was so well put. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Sixcast. We'd love to connect with you, so feel free to comment or reshare. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Six Senses. Bye for now.